Welcome to the Exam Room Podcast, brought to you by the Physicians Committee. Hi, I am the weight loss champion, Chuck Carroll, joined today by lifestyle medicine cardiologist from Monterey, California, a hero, well-known multiple times on the show, but it's always so good to have you here, Dr. Steve Lome. Thanks for being here again, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me once again.
You know, it didn't dawn on me until earlier today, before we started doing this particular episode, that you're a cardiologist who actually also kind of happenstancely, if that's a word, like has now begun speaking a lot about obesity medicine. Like the two kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
They absolutely do. I mean, obesity is a huge risk factor isolated by itself for heart disease, but along with obesity usually comes things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes type 2, markedly increasing the risk of developing heart disease. And so if you just simply tackle the obesity, you can lower your cardiovascular risk significantly, but it's not just the weight loss, obviously. You got to do it in the right way. That's a healthy and safe, sustainable way for the rest of your life, instead of just the quick, easy fix, dropping pounds real quick and not developing the proper habits.
Yeah, and I think that my personal opinion here, it's not really my place to give an opinion, but as somebody who has lost a lot of weight, I will tell you that I think that it's not just one thing. Right? It's the weight loss surgery is not the reason why I'm here today. That was one part of it, but there's also multiple other components that go into it that were as big, if not bigger. Do you think that when it comes to the weight loss drugs, for instance, that we're seeing all the rage today, the Wegovy, the Ozempic, Mounjaro, all of those, do you think that that also is going to be just one small part of it? Or are a lot of people right in assuming, hey, this is the one solution?
Well, that is such an awesome question. And let me tell you my perspective here. So I think it's just a small piece of the solution, right? The big problem with our obesity epidemic is our system, our culture, our food system, government policies, the fact that our healthcare system doesn't address obesity the right way, that we don't actually have the multidisciplinary approach that we need with health coaches, behavioral specialists, helping, reduce stress, and doing the nutrition education and the culinary medicine. That is not widespread, not covered by insurance adequately. And so ultimately our system is broken, which has led to the obesity epidemic. And to think that we can let our system remain broken, but then just give a medication to solve all our problem, that's absolutely not the way that we should go. Now, certainly, can it be a bridge to help us lower disease rates and help the more extreme situations and the higher risk people as we fix our broken system? Perhaps that's a way that you can think about it. But it is not the end-all, be-all solution. We should always avoid the whole reductionistic mindset of the only way to fix a problem is this one thing. It is going to take an approach of multiple different modalities, and medicines fit in there just a little bit, but I would like to think it's temporary, because if you think about all of humanity and the future of where we're going to go 100 years from now, 200 years from now, do you really think the future is injecting weight loss drugs every week or whatever? No, it's not. We need to solve the root problem of the issue, which is the obesity problem, which is our food system, our government policy, our healthcare system. And if you get at that and we're able to make the culture change that we need to make, which is hard, it's very hard, then hopefully the medications will not be needed. And that's, I think, the underlying mindset that we need to have.
I think in this country, in a lot of well-developed country, but here in America, man, like healthcare isn't about taking care of healthy people. You can even call it sick care. I will just call it business. And I think that the idea of lifestyle medicine scares the ever-loving bejesus out of healthcare companies because they worry that that's going to put them out of business. So how do we then begin to approach the idea of incorporating these interventions, these nutritional interventions, the dietary components, the lifestyle components, while still having a viable medical practice or business?
Another great question. And I've personally struggled with this. So when I was at a big academic university in Chicago, trying to get an Ornish program and a CHIP lifestyle medicine program, we went through all these different things and we tried to, they sat down and really tried to make it work. But in the end of the day, it wasn't going to make money. So they didn't pursue the programs and we never got them going. And so I left. And it is a problem. And right now in our current model, lifestyle medicine and prevention is a money loser for healthcare systems. But everybody's recognizing we have to do something. Disease burdens are going up, up, up. There's no end in sight. Medical expenses is so enormous now, $4 trillion a year, and 80% of that is for preventable diseases. We know we got to do something. Medicare is going to be broke. So they are shifting the reimbursement models for how doctors and hospitals get paid to a more population health management. So here's your population. You got to make sure that the BMI of this population is here and the blood pressures are controlled and the cholesterol numbers are controlled. And how are they going to be able to achieve that? It's going to be through lifestyle interventions because they're going to have, X number of dollars to take care of these people, and using expensive $1,000 a month drugs to make them lose weight. That's not going to be the way to get it done. They're going to need to incorporate the lifestyle medicine into their practice. Now, Medicare's mandate where they're going to get rid of the paid for productivity, the more patients you see, the more procedures you do, the more you get paid, is 2030. And so it's slowly shifting over, and doctors are getting paid more for actually meaningful outcomes, getting their patients to lose weight or controlling their blood pressure or controlling their diabetes. They're getting paid more if they meet those metrics. And that is going to be a very helpful step. But we got to be careful with that too, because we don't want it to be like, make sure they're all on their drugs to get their numbers down. We need to make sure that lifestyle medicine is the key component in order to achieve those metrics to help doctors get paid. And as healthcare systems realize this through something that we call ACOs, accountable care organizations, hey, if we meet these metrics, they're going to give us a $5 million check every year. Then they're going to say to the doctors, you need to make this happen. How can we make this happen? Oh, a lifestyle medicine program can help us to achieve these metrics so we can get this huge check from these insurance companies. And that's going to drive the change in the healthcare field. And it's happening. It's just happening too slow.
So hold on, let's talk about this. This has never come up on the show. So in 2030, essentially the system's going to shift and doctors are going to be, like the way that I'm interpreting this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is essentially doctor salaries will be, you're eligible for like bonuses, or your paychecks are dependent upon patient outcomes. And that then opens the door for lifestyle medicine, where you're no longer being bonused by big drug manufacturers who come in with their pharmaceutical reps and, oh, by the way, if you prescribe X number of this medication, we'll give you a free trip to Tahiti.
Yeah. So currently, the way doctors get paid frequently, we don't get paid if we prescribe more. Our healthcare organizations don't pay us if we prescribe more drugs. Yes, some doctors, will take kickbacks and be speakers for drug companies, and that's kind of done on an individual basis. But in regards to how doctors get paid right now, it's predominantly for productivity. The more patients they see, the more procedures they do, the more tests or x-rays that they interpret, the more they get paid. And it doesn't matter how healthy your patient is. If your patient gets sick and gets admitted to the hospital, you go see him in the hospital and you get paid more. So you actually get paid more if your patients are sick and they need you more, which is not right. And so the model is trying to shift so that you actually get paid if you meet metrics to make your patient healthier. So a physician's salary might be, as we're transitioning to this, 80% productivity, because, if you don't get paid for seeing more patients, we'd be seeing 2 patients a day and spending 4 hours with every patient, which I would love. That would be great. But that's not realistic to see all the patients that need to be seen. So like maybe 20% of the salary will be based on, do you have blood pressure control? Does your patient losing weight? Is there, diabetes well controlled? Did you help the smoker stop smoking? All these different things. And if you meet the certain targets, then the doctor gets a bonus for the other 20% of their salary. And the big organizations love that, because the insurance companies say, hey, these are the 10,000 patients that are insured by us that you guys are taking care of. And look, you got their diabetes controlled. And that was one of our metrics. Boom, $5 million to your organization. And the organization's happy. They just made more money. The doctor's happy because they made their metric. And the patients are happy because now they're controlled and they're healthier. But again, there's a lot of ways to kind of make this not really quite work properly if we're just doing it by pushing drugs and medications to achieve these metrics. one powerful way, which is cheaper for insurance companies and corporate medicine and such, is lifestyle, because, it doesn't cost much to eat, a healthy diet, but it does take a multidisciplinary approach. So you need a lifestyle medicine practitioner, nutritionist, behavioral health specialist, but this is really going to spawn a bigger growth in lifestyle medicine. But it's, we've, over the last 10 or 20 years, as we've been trying to push this movement forward, it's been frustrating because we don't see the progress yet. We don't see it happening. It's finally happening on a higher level where it needs to within the healthcare world, but there's going to be ways around it. So we just need to, be cautious, cautiously optimistic, and hope that this is going to be a solution 10, 15, 20 years from now that will drive lifestyle medicine into the forefront of medicine. Flipping the pyramid is what they say. Our current healthcare system, the teeny tiny tip at the top is prevention, and the huge area at the bottom is tertiary care, sick people. We need that to be the opposite, where the basis of healthcare is lifestyle medicine, nutrition, exercise, wellness, and it makes people so healthy that the tip of the pyramid, the small part at the top, is the tertiary care when somebody's already gotten sick, because people won't be getting sick. They'll be so healthy.
So, all right, let me just make sure that I understand this concept properly. So essentially, the insurance companies would then be responsible for these bonuses and would pass along some of that cost savings onto the practices, who would then disseminate that money into the physicians.
That's correct.
Okay. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
What a concept, man.
It's a win-win-win. And so it's happening. It's just, we wish it happened, 50 years ago, and that would happen quicker. And again, we got to make sure that the metrics that they're using are appropriate, the way we achieve the metrics are appropriate. And there's a lot of, smart people that are working hard on this. And I think hopefully it's going to work.
So, yeah, man. The cynic part of me, though, is thinking, could this system kind of be gamed by you prescribe a lot of these drugs, and of course you're going to see all of these short-term results. I would hope that there's some sort of a fail-safe in there where perhaps the bonuses are larger for longer-term sustained success. That would be my hope anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure of all the nuances, and every company is different with their metrics and such, but I'm sure there's going to be plenty of ways people are going to try to game the system, both from the healthcare side and the individual healthcare practitioner side. And I'm hopeful that there's going to be some sort of watchdogs to kind of go over this and make sure that the things are happening appropriately. And it helps give us a little bit of optimism that maybe we're changing away from our sick care system a little more towards the healthcare, but we're being forced to do that, right? We really have no choice, because it's just absolutely unsustainable the way that it's going right now.
Now, what'd you say? 4 trillion with a T every year?
With a T, and about 80% of that is for preventable diseases related to diet and lifestyle. So about 3-point-something trillion.
3.2. 3.2, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a lot.
Do you know what we could do as far as paying down national debt with $3.2 trillion?
We can do a lot.
A lot. That is unheard of. Almost amazing. Wow. Dr. Lome crunching numbers, making things happen, man. That's amazing. I'm going to keep my eye on that. That's like really exciting stuff. Yeah. All right, man. Learned something new today. Let's switch gears here and talk a little bit more nutrition. I know all the roomies love to talk about food and how it benefits and the health and this and that. We can crunch numbers and talk health politics all day. But no, let's talk, about actual food and how that can work together. So we have surgical interventions, we have heart medications, we have weight loss drugs, we have all of this. Just in your estimation as a physician, kind of going back to what it was we were talking about earlier, what are the likelihoods, what's the probability that somebody is successful long-term with their weight loss if they have these interventions without going down that nutritional rabbit hole as well, and you put those two things together and you marry them?
So I don't know if I can give you an exact percentage, but I would say a very large majority, if they have the right support system that's in place, including all those pieces that you need, the behavioral health, the stress reduction, the nutritionist, the health coach, and the family support, a vast majority of people will be successful with it. Now, of course, there's so many barriers to it, which make it challenging to be successful. But we do know when we look back 100 or 200 years, people weren't obese like this. Only the kings and queens and the wealthy people were, but the vast majority of people were not. And so we do know that the problem in our current situation is not the lack of a weight loss drug. That the problem is the food and the system and the culture. And so attacking all those things would be the solution. So when people actually do their proper interventions, they will lose the weight. It's just a matter of making sure that we can support them throughout that process with enough resources to make it sustainable for them. And that's where the challenge is, where we just don't have a good setup.
Huge challenge. A huge challenge. So I want for you to take off your the proverbial doctor's coat, and I want you to just put on the Steve Lome jacket, right?
Yeah.
Overweight Steve Lome, who had his own health challenges. Now, what would Dr. Steve Lome say to that version of Steve Lome to help that person understand how these two things can marry together and the importance of, man, you got to eat right, you got to exercise. Otherwise, there's a whole bunch of stuff we can throw at the wall, but it's not going to stick long term.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's, every person's different how you have to approach it. So if I was Dr. Steve Lome trying to approach obese Steve Lome before I lost nearly 100 pounds, I've never was approached, by the way, by a healthcare professional about my weight, which was probably one of the issues. But anyways, it takes time. And when you only have 15 minutes as a doctor, you can't explain all this. You cannot be effective. That's the issue. So you definitely have to make sure the patient understands the risk of the obesity and the outcomes that can happen if they don't lose the weight. Now it affects blood pressure, cholesterol, cancer risk, and all these things. And the benefits and reduction you can get if you are able to make the proper lifestyle changes. But I'm lucky that now currently I'm able to empathize with my patients because I've been there myself, and I could share my story with them and be, kind of in their shoes. But, it's a combination of trying to meet the patient where they are, because everybody is so individually in a different place. And if I said to myself, listen, I'm a busy cardiologist, I'm working 80 hours a week, I'm taking call, I'm tired all the time, I don't have time to cook, I have 6 kids, how am I I don't have time to do this. Then what am I going to do as a doctor in front of that patient? I mean, I have 15 minutes with the patient. How am I going to help them with all these issues? This is why the system fails, and we need to have the integrative approach to help tackle all those individual things. The fact that I was able to overcome it is definitely only a small percentage of people are able to do that type of thing on their own without the support. It's not easy.
No.
And so you just, try to meet the person where they are, empathize with them. I provide resources to my patients and say, I'm here to help, send me messages through our messaging system. If you have questions about nutrition, I'll do the best I can for you. And I find places that can refer them for the nutritional counseling and the behavioral health counseling. But yeah, those resources are limited. So I wish somebody would have done that for me, but you know what? It worked out fine. Forks Over Knives did it for me. and I like where I ended up.
So I don't even know if this is an appropriate question or even if you have the answer to it, but have you found, because of your own transition, your own health journey, do you find that because you've been there, you've walked in their shoes, the long-term success of your patients may be a little bit higher than some of your colleagues who have not had that same health obstacle that they've overcome?
I think that's probably true. I don't have any objective data to corroborate that, but when you make a connection with your patient, when you share a personal story and they understand that what they're going through and the challenges that they're facing, and that you're coming, no pun intended, from your heart, they connect with you more, they listen to you more, and they take it a lot more serious. And so I feel like that making that connection with my patient is critical. Sharing my story and asking them, what do you think, every little question, what do you think you can do to achieve these goals, and working with them, it does work a lot better. Now, I can't say that I can get 100% of patients to change.
No.
And when I first started out, oh my gosh, did I make mistakes with my approach? I was euphoric, plant-based diet, save the world, cure heart disease. Everybody's got to go 100% plant-based, and I will tell everybody else there's no other option, 100%, wow.
Evangelical route, man.
That did not work. And so, the euphoria has pretty quickly faded away as I realized nobody was listening to me, nobody was doing anything I was saying. And so I kind of learned how to meet somebody where they are and how to ask the right questions and feel them out as to how far they can go and how to set small targets and get them referred to the right place so that they can get whatever they needed, whether it was, behavioral health therapy, stress reduction, more nutrition education. I could provide them all the resources I want. But you know what? A lot of patients, they wouldn't even look at them. I used to give books to my patients, and I would ask them, "Oh, did you read the book? Did you read How Not to Die? Did you read it?" No, I was like, why did I spend like $20 to give you this book and you didn't even read it? It's hard. It's frustrating. And so coming from your heart, giving them all the resources, giving them the right referrals is the best a lot of doctors can do if they don't have a good integrative type of lifestyle medicine program that's right there and available for them. And I just heard, at least for heart disease patients, I'm a cardiologist, that's my focus. The Ornish program is now online and virtual. Oh, what a game changer that can be.
Wow.
And I don't know if my local organization is going to be happy about this, because I'm going to start saying, hey, all my patients, I'm going to say this is an option. It'll be covered instead of going to our local cardiac rehab program. Why don't you do Ornish virtually? And that's great, because they take care of all that, the stress reduction, the social wellness, the love and support, the exercise, and the nutrition. And that's what we need.
Total wellness, man.
Yeah.
You know what I might do if I were you, because you are going back to, you kept using that 15-minute window with the patients, which is not a lot of time, but I think there's a way to expand that as the patient is brought into the exam room. Hi, thanks for listening. Taken into the exam room, and they're waiting for you to come in. What if there was a picture of you in there, a side-by-side, the before and after, and all it has to say is, hi, I'm Dr. Lome, I'm your doctor today, or something like that. So that when you walk in the door, automatically their interest is piqued, and you have uber credibility, not just as their doctor, but as them. Because they know at that point that you have been in their shoes, and therefore, whatever it is that you say, they are going to listen more intently.
Yeah, things like that, little touches like that are very helpful and powerful. And one of the other things that I decided to do, because I could talk to somebody for an hour about high blood pressure and lifestyle medicine, I said, I sent them an email with all these resources, but I made specific videos about like losing weight and cholesterol and heart disease. And I said, hey, you watch this video, here's I talk with them about all their specific situation, but hey, for next time, I want you to do these 3 things. Watch this video, eat oatmeal every day for breakfast, simple things like this. We'll see you back in 2 weeks, and I want to make sure, can you do those things? And they say yes, and you see them back, they've watched the video, and you go through it. And yes, it's only 15-minute appointments, but I'm able to have more than one 15-minute appointment and really set slow targets and ease people into it. But there are other people who can go all in real hard and fast. That's a minority of people. So most people, I just have to beg them to eat an apple a day, honestly. Yeah. But if you show you're genuine, that you genuinely care, this is the right way to go, and you provide them with the proper resources, even if you don't have the formal lifestyle medicine program right there in front of you to refer them to, you can make a meaningful impact on almost every single patient that you see.
And I'll tell you, as somebody who specializes in communication and being able to connect with people, the one thing that I've learned is almost a universal truth, is that you don't need 15 minutes to make a connection with a person. People are drawn to authenticity. And so you only need a matter of seconds to come across as authentic. And because you have that story that you can share with your patients, that makes everything that comes out of your mouth so much more powerful. And you're delivering such a healthy message. Your patients don't realize it, but I'll gush for you, man. They are lucky to have you in their corner, man. The fact that you are willing to spend $20 out of your own pocket to buy them a book is just tremendous. I don't know of a lot of physicians that would do that. I know physicians who would say, oh, by the way, my book is available in the lobby right now for $20. Go buy it. Not let me buy this book for you with $20 out of my own pocket. You're a good guy. You've got a heart of gold, Steve Lome, Dr. Lome.
Well, thank you. And I honestly, it can make such a huge impact in people's lives. And that's why we go into medicine, is to make an impact, save people's lives. And I honestly feel like I don't think I could have written a script any better to set me up to be a lifestyle medicine cardiologist. It's just absolutely mind-boggling how everything has my whole life story is led me right here and given me this passion. And so sharing it with patients makes that connection. Mm-hmm. And, you give somebody a book and they're like, wow, I can't believe this doctor gave it to me. And you would hope that they would, at least read it. But, that's not always the case. But it's, again, when you make that connection and you show them you care, you could be a much more effective healthcare provider, no question.
All right, let's end with this, man. Again, channel Dr. Lome, channel old Steve Lome, who's got this health journey in front of him, and then look at your patients and think about this. A patient walks through the door and you can just tell, man, that life has just put them through the ringer. Their health is in the tank. They're not feeling good physically. They're not feeling good mentally. They don't feel like they have a fighting chance at anything. What would your message be to somebody who is feeling so lost and so hopeless and so broken that they just can't see any light at the end of a very long and dark tunnel? What would your message be?
My message would always be hope. There's always hope, because when I have patients that are here in front of me with multiple chronic diseases that are lifestyle related, explaining to them that the cause is lifestyle, the treatment is lifestyle. I don't need to do a major surgery or give you a whole bunch of expensive medications, that we have the tools to help you out. And I know it's challenging and I know you feel hopeless, but people can get through this, and I'm here to support you and help you through it. And that's when I share my story. And I share some of the amazing success stories that are available online. The Forks Over Knives has their whole list of all these success stories, and they see other people. And then they start to have that little glimpse of hope. And that's the spark that you need to get people moving forward and make the right changes. Then we get into the complexities of trying to get their family involved with their journey, trying to get the behavior management, the stress management, but really telling people everything that you have right here, that the obesity, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, high cholesterol, even if they've had heart disease and they have significant plaque buildup, this is all reversible. It may take some effort and some time, but we're here to support you, and I will point you towards all the resources to keep you alive, keep you well, and we can do it. And then, again, they connect and we make it happen. There's always hope.
You genuinely care, man. I love that about you. Dr. Steve Lome, we didn't even talk about him life-saving in the marathons this go-round. That was the last interview. But you are just the man, and the world is going to see more of you, and the world needs more of you. And I appreciate you carving out a little time for us today.
Oh, yeah, anytime. It's great to be here. Thank you.
If your health IQ is a couple of points higher than it was a few minutes ago, go ahead and like this video or subscribe to the YouTube channel. And to take it even higher, head over to Apple Podcast or wherever you get your favorite shows. Look for The Exam Room by the Physicians Committee. Hit the subscribe button there as well and help to make your world a healthier place.